Hello and welcome, my name is Chris from ChristopherHole.com and welcome to this video where we're now going to be looking at ankle mechanics and forefoot running. We're going to be looking at how the ankle is designed very generally. We're going to be looking at some of the muscles, some of the different tissues, much like we talked about with the foot, but a little bit more applied to the ankle and how in some ways they kind of work together, the ankle and the foot. So what we have in the ankle is it's called a class 2 lever. You don't have to worry too much about what that is, but basically the class 2 lever is able to take a lot of force. So it can cope with a lot of force. Now, if you watched my video on foot mechanics, you found out that the impact when your foot hits the floor can be up to 3 times your body weight. So if you're a 70 or 80 kilo person, that's 210 to 240 kilos of body weight being pressed down onto into the foot. And the ankle is a class 2 lever which is able to cope with high amounts of force. So the ankle is there and is able to cope with those high loads, which in some ways, which is how it's designed itself. However it's done that, I'm not terribly sure, but it has done that. And if you look at the class 2 lever, you'll be able to see how they are able to take much more force than the other levers of the body, the class 1 and the class 3 levers. Now, what we also need at the ankle is a good range of movement, because again, as I mentioned in the last video, that equals a good elastic band. So as the foot hits the floor, or the front of the foot hits the floor, the heel bone, as you can see on there, the calcaneus, moves towards the floor. So it will strike, your toes will be pointing to the floor, your heel will be up, your foot hits the floor, and it goes down towards the floor. What this does in a flexible ankle, or with good range of movement, this pulls all of those tissues apart. So all of those, the plantar fascia, the muscles of the feet, they all pull apart. Now in the ankle, what we have is the calf muscle, the soleus and the gastrocnemius, which is attached to the foot via the Achilles tendon. Now again, the Achilles tendon and these two muscles, they pull apart as well, and they act as an elastic band. Now again, it doesn't want to be too flexible, because if it's too flexible, the elastic band won't work. But if it's too stiff, you get a very poor elastic band, and it's a lot more prone to snapping. So what we want is a good elastic band in the plantar fascia, the muscles underneath the feet, the Achilles tendon, and the gastroc and the gastrocnemius and the soleus that make up the calf muscle. Plus, you've got a few others. You can see a few others there: the peroneus longus. You've also got the posterior tibialis as well, that comes down and goes around attaches onto the foot. But all of those muscles together, and all of those tissues and the tendons and the ligaments and the fascia, all of those contribute towards that absorption of all that force. So they're able to absorb it, they store it in the muscle, or they store it in the tendon, and then the elastic band springs back and you use it to propel you forward. So there's just some, understandings that you now have of the ankle, the way it's designed, and how it's benefiting you from forefoot striking or forefoot running. Now, again, as I mentioned at the end of the last video, if you are starting out with forefoot running, you're just transferring over from heel strike, don't just transfer and do your 10, 20, 30 miles of forefoot striking, because your foot won't be able to cope with it, your ankle won't be able to cope with it. So what you have to do is take baby steps. You have to just start off introducing forefoot running, forefoot striking into your foot and into your ankle. Because that then will allow the tissues to adapt. If you jump in at the deep end, it will let you know. So what you have to do is sort of walk in from the shallow end and then gradually progress from there. So many thanks for watching. My name is Chris from ChristopherHole.com. I will speak to you in the next video.